attacking you the way you look, things that you do, and then they compare you to other people, and then nothing that you do is right.
So attacking
Anything
your
that you do,
self-esteem.
just attacking, and then when you allow them to do that, you start believing it. After a while, you start believing, okay, something wrong with me, or they'll just literally disrespect you in front of other people. Be at a store somewhere.
Right.
You'll suggest something, and then he'll call you stupid or say, little things like that. It don't just start. It escalates. It keeps going and 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 keeps going. Now, like you said, the sex, I don't even think that's the
part of
case,
it?
a part of it. A lot of women also, if they are with abusive men, that man might be taking care of them.
Financially.
Right. So they don't see no outlet, or then they make them feel so low that they feel like they can't do nothing on their own. So they got to depend on him.
I never thought of it like that.
I had a coworker. She was actually a director, and I knew she was getting abused. She came to work. She would wear wigs all the time. But she came to work one day with a wig, and it was like covering the right side of her eye. And then I looked, and this whole part was red. I was like,
wow.
okay, wow. So I see what's going on. But she was covering it up and covering it up. It's a lot.
Right.
It's a lot. So as far as what Carlton's situation is, when she left, he had already had control over her.
Right.
That's
He won. He basically, I got her. And that's why he laughed and made that comment, oh, she going to come back to me
But
anyway.
18 months later, though,
Yeah.
you would think in 18 months
Yeah.
that person would have gained the necessary help or self-esteem
Mm-hmm.
back to realize that this joker wasn't for her.
Well, yeah. But
It's strong.
It's hard when you in that person's situation, they don't see no other outlet. They feel like that person, the abuser, manipulated them so good. And then most abusive people are narcissists anyway.
Right.
So they know how to manipulate. They know how to get in that person's head to make them feel like they need them.
Right.
And that's what happened. Unfortunately, that's what happened with her.
Right. Well,
It's like you don't know your, not to cut you off, know your worth. Even my situation, like I knew after a while, I was like, okay, I ain't tolerating this no more. You ain't gonna talk to me.
What was
any
the
kind of
point?
way.
At what point did you realize that you were in an abusive relationship?
I flipped it because he was just like his words would just be so harsh, and then I'm the type of person that I'm like, what? Why are you talking to me like this?
Right.
So when I started giving him the same treatment that he gave me, he didn't like that. So it was more like, I don't want you to bye. I had to wake up from it myself and realize, like, no, I don't be treated like this. Like, I don't deserve this. But once they figure out that you don't have no power over them no more,
You got it.
There you go.
So it's interesting. So were there signs early on in your relationship?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you the signs I should have paid attention to. When a guy speaks very harsh and negatively about other women that he's been with, that's a red flag.
Nice. Good point.
When he come to you with, she wasn't this, or she was a prostitute, or whatever the case may be, I don't know if you can use that word on
Of
camera.
course you can.
But when they start talking like that, and then it's like constant, every woman you've been with was this way, come on, that's a sign. That's a red flag.
So I've had many friends who, so back in the day, full disclosure, back in the day, I remember people I dated, women I dated, used to always say that, used to get pissed off because I'm not a jealous person. Right. Now, full disclosure, if you're purposely trying to make me jealous, of course, I'm human, I have those emotions, I will get jealous. But the simple, typical things that people get jealous about, that's not my thing. So, and I remember friends would date these guys, and they would find it cute in the beginning of a relationship when the guy would act so possessive.
Yeah.
And it was cute because they always say, hey, who are you hanging with? Why are you hanging with this person? Why are you talking to this man? Those were clear signs to me of a person who was possessive and would ultimately could evolve into something much deeper, like an abusive relationship. So always struck me weird that women, and I know full disclosure, I know it's more than just women that gets abused.
Right.
However, I'm specifically referring to women, how they find early on in their relationship when someone shows clear signs of being obsessive and potentially can lead to a abusive relationship, they find that cute. What says you, Mr.?
I agree with that 1,000%. It also not even that, it's him telling you, pay attention to when the way you got him. You might have had on the baddest, tightest little dress and cute in the club or whatever, and he just throwing a compliments at you. All of a sudden, y'all 6 months in a relationship or whatever, he start telling you, where you going? Why you wearing that?
Right.
Pay attention to that. That's control.
Was there ever a situation where it almost got physical, or you thought it might come physical, or was you never that scared for at that point?
Not physical. It's just I had dealt with a narcissist. He was more abusive with words and treatment. The not speaking to you. The what is it called? The
silent treatment.
The silent treatment to make you feel like you did something to them. You ask them something and they just give you one word. See, all that's form of abuse. You got to pay attention. That's what narcissists do. So I tell a lot of women, really look up that word narcissist, because you could be dating one and not even know.
Yeah.
That's part of that abuse.
See,
Yes, sir.
you had mentioned people call in if they want to express their or offer an opinion. You didn't offer a number, though. Can you give me a
You're
number?
absolutely right. By the way, saying what's up to G Page. I agree. They find it cute until he starts isolating from others, climbing your call backs, etc. Thanks for watching, by the way. Ava Jones, see you out there. Ava's a every week watcher.
Hey.
If you have any questions you want to comment, you know what I'm saying, I implore you to call area code 480-200-9570. Again, 480-200-9570.
So we talked about the women's side. Why don't we switch it over with the men's side? I know you shared a story about your friend's niece. I think Ms. Jones has an example of a man, being caught in an abusive
That's got to be
relationship.
rare. I can't think of anybody.
It's
Didn't I used to abuse you when you were younger?
I used to abuse you on a basketball court, but that was something totally different.
Basketball court?
Basketball court.
Really?
Or what?
Really?
Really?
Oh, really?
Elbow.
Basketball
court.
Okay, well, so the people who know Carlton and I know better, so they're all laughing out loud right now as you say that. But I'm sorry, Ms. Jones.
No.
We diverted a
No. I've seen in my lifetime 2 male friends of mine, and I mean like really good men, really good men, like good fathers there for their children and for their children's mom, that has been physically abused. Not too long ago, actually, this year, one of my best male friends, he experienced a terrible altercation with the mother of his child. She was, first of all, very angry about our friendship.
Right.
But we always include her in everything. So it was never nothing disrespectful or nothing to make her think that something was going on.
Shouldn't have been nothing.
She just was insecure. But with that, she got mad with him and went over to his house, his mom's house, and they was arguing back and forth, and they said, she had took some lighter fluid and threw it on him, and then they was wrestling because he saw what else was going to happen. She was going to she had the what do you call it? The
Lighter?
The
Lighter fluid.
to like burn him up.
Right.
And then he was, wrestling her back and forth, and then she left, and then he called me up, and he was in tears. He was like, "What did I do to deserve this?" He said, "She tried to set me on fire."
Wow.
But let me tell you this. He stayed with her.
Yeah. Wow.
And this is not the first, y'all. It's like, this woman swung him with a baseball bat. Like, she's done so much stuff to him and it's like he's
still staying with her.
Yeah.
Does he have a place of his own? Can he not make it on his own?
Not yet.
He needs her.
So she's supporting him too. So that falls into the same description you use to describe a woman.
But he has support from his family. So his family don't even want him with her.
Right.
They
Then I'm
want
going with the family. I don't even understand it. Me myself, I'm gone. You can't swing no bat on me.
Right. But the lighter thing, that was it right there.
Yeah, that would have.
'Cause
Well,
that's like you
yeah.
you want me dead. Like after that, you throwing that's like gasoline and you trying to light somebody
How
up
did
and
he
stuff.
respond?
He was calling me in tears and she poured it in his eyes so he couldn't see.
But like
he
calling
was-
you in tears, like I'm
he-
sorry to interrupt.
No, he was just like frantic. Like I can't do this. I want her to leave me alone. You know, what did I do to deserve? It was like it was his breaking point. And I thought maybe he was going to stay away and for Elise to say, you know what, I'm done. But because they have a child together, he was using that as a reason of
Wow.
yeah.
So it's
So
similar.
it happens to men too. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
That's similar to how
And I mean,
women
like, verbally
respond.
abuse.
Right.
Man,
That's
Right.
how similar how women respond when they're in an abusive
Right.
relationship. It's
Right.
oh well, what about the kids? He's
Right.
such a great father. I can't afford to separate my child from her father. So it's amazing that a man responds the
But
same way.
I don't think, even if that was the case, I'm not saying that you're wrong, Roman. I think you're a lot correct. I would think that they would know that it's not going to stop. You know what I'm saying? It's, you know, I understand you don't want to separate this child. Same way you don't want to take your child out of high school because high school's their most important years, and you know you don't want to go to another school. But I think that's a difference. Other ages, our parents didn't. We moved. My mother didn't ask us, did you want to go to this school? We moving, and this is the schools you're going to. So
And not only, not to cut you off, Carlton,
Mm-hmm.
but not only the physical abuse, the cheating.
She cheated on him like
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you
So
know,
that goes for both,
Yeah.
male and female. But
So, you know, see, I think one of the things I will disagree with you with is the trivializing how easy it is. Because some people, I get it.
right, I'm not saying it's easy. I know it's got to be
So
difficult.
people, you know, because I think all three of us at some point in our lives and our dating lives, we've been hurt,
yeah, definitely.
right? And once you're hurt, sometimes you act differently than you normally would.
Hurt.
You know how
Never been. Just kidding.
Lies.
you want me to count? Dude, remember I've known you for 40 years, right?
Oh, okay. I ain't that old. I'm
Dude, okay, I'm just
You showing
why did
his-
your
you-
voice get so like a soprano? Though?
Showing his vulnerable side.
I always knew you was bad. I always knew you was bad at math, and so I didn't want America to know you was bad at math. But now they know it. Carlton doesn't look that old to be, 40. You don't think you know me 40 years? I'm just saying.
Okay, not only have I known you 40 years, I know your relationships, and I know. Well, okay, we won't get into
Right.
We're going down a
Excuse
route
me,
I'm sure
America.
Carlton don't want to go, but so it's clearly not easy when you are in love with someone, and prior to all these issues presenting themselves, you guys have had a great time. The person who's abusing you have shown their best side. So at the end of the day, that's what you fell in love with, and that's what you're clinging to hopefully that person can, go back to being that way. And it just doesn't happen.
Right.
And if they do, it's in small increments, so
Right.
it doesn't happen consistently enough.
And the thing about it is, if you listen to their stories and you ask them, well, how long you been with this person? 20 years. I'm like, whoa, 20 years.
Right. That's what I'm
You
That's
saying.
stayed
insane.
in
Right.
a toxic relationship for 20 years, and then let alone married people who are in this situation. They use, oh, well, we got finances together, we got kids together, and I never understand how you will still stay in a abusive, physical, verbal, whatever relationship just because you want a place to stay, or you don't want nobody to take your money, or you don't
Yeah.
want to.
Yeah.
We got a Facebook viewer, G Pace Pace. She said, no, it will not stop. Take your child and leave. How long before it is inflicted on the child because the child looks like you, or doesn't male make you less of a man? I know so
That's
many
right.
women.
That's
that
right,
have
Gigi.
done- yeah. that would take it out on the child because the child look like the daddy, which I think is criminal.
It is.
It is.
To be able to do that, child had nothing to do with that. Looks like him, but I mean that's another subject we can get into
Right.
that. But yeah, that
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's similar situation, but I have a very close family member who is not necessarily involved in your traditional abusive relationship that we just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But she's involved with a man who she's been dating now for a few years.
Okay.
And she absolutely loved this man. They've had some great times. But now he's cheating. She knows he's cheating.
Okay.
She's caught him cheating, or at least lying, not in physical act, but lying. She's going to his house, and he won't open the door. You know, so sounds familiar. All right, so she knows this is happening, but she can't let go, no matter how much I preach to her to let this man go. Okay, she has 2 kids. He's not the father of any of them. So she's in this relationship, and I remember a few years ago when one of her cousins was in a similar situation with a man, her husband, and she was giving her the right advice. Leave this man alone. He ended up having her cousin was pregnant, and the dude had impregnated another woman at the same time.
I mean, that Biggie song, you know what I'm saying?
So, and I remember her giving her cousin all of this great advice. He's never going to change. You got to leave him. Right? You're in this abusive relationship. But now she can't follow her own advice.
See? Yeah.
Well, so where does somebody go? So let's take this out a little further, because I know some people in the audience might be experiencing it without having to call up and everybody know that's you or whatever. You know, I know Roman doesn't want his name mentioned on it as he telling a couple stories from the past and nothing. But
Yeah, I feel abused on this podcast.
I'm just saying. So I mean, like when you was going through yours, did you feel like you had? I mean, I know your family. You got a large family, so. If someone was abusing you at the house, I mean, did you ever like tell? I know your family well, so I know you got cousins.
So mine was verbal, never physical, because I guess, like you said, I got a lot of brothers too. But
They would have found you.
yeah, the
right?
verbal. I just find myself after being with them and they were verbal, I started to act like them because I threw
Fight
whatever
fire
you
with
gave
fire.
me back. Yeah,
Right.
and it just didn't work. So I was like, I'm out.
How long did you still deal with this for?
It too long. I would say too long.
How long did you date him?
I would say about 2 or 3 years.
Okay. And then
But
when did you think the
didn't
abuse start?
Yeah, it didn't start like 2 or 3. It started like the second year. Wow. It started like the
Okay,
second.
so you technically went through 12 months with him. Okay. Well, that's actually not bad, considering others who, like you said, that one example, they've been married to a person 20 years or been together with that person for 20 years, have been abusing them.
That's crazy.
But back to your other story that you just said about she not following her own advice, or why do they go back? It's because once that man is in their presence, and it's something about him continue to lie and say things that'll soothe her and make her feel like, okay, I'm gonna give him one more chance.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna give him one more chance. It's almost like Ike and Tina. If you watch that movie, Ike coming in, beat her up, but then next thing you know, he putting flowers on the bed and kissing on her forehead or something.
You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy about that? That they'll take a piece of clothing that Ike had on, the wife beater, but they ain't started calling it a wife beater until after that movie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's
Are you
crazy.
serious?
Yeah, have you ever heard of me
I
calling
did, actually.
after,
I thought I did
before the movie?
I have to remember,
Yeah,
but
I don't think
that
so.
is
man.
interesting.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I got to remember that.
Yeah, that's what was Lawrence Hilton Jacobs. I think it was.
Yeah.
No,
Lawrence
Fishburne.
Fishburne.
Fishburne. Right.
Fishburne.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Great.
no, I mean, going back to the family member I was talking about, I reminded her of the advice she used to give her cousin, and asked her, hey, if it was a friend of yours who was going through the same exact thing, wouldn't you be advising them to do everything opposite of what you're currently doing?
But it don't.
I got Facebook over here blowing up. Facebook. I'm at Miss Medina Collier. said she should have been here earlier because it's so many different levels and types of abuse. You are correct. Miss Medina, if you have my number, you know what it is. If you like to call up and share a story, we'd love to have you. 480-200-9570 for those that don't have it. Now, I guess all of America have it. So, call up and let me know what you think. That's crazy, though,
Yeah. So, I mean, how would you advise?
Especially with kids.
Especially with kids.
It's harder with kids. That's why I don't want to really be too hard on the actual victims, because you dealing with people that's suffering from depression and all other types of things going on. You can come home and have work on your shoulder, then you come home, got your kids, and then you come home to a man that's treating you like some crap every day. So that's a lot for a person to take in. I speak to a lot of people that's been in abusive relationships, so to ask them, why did you leave? Why did you leave? Some people say it's not that easy.
Right. Well, it's interesting. So it kind of reminds me a little, just based on what you were just saying, Ms. Jones, kind of remind me a little bit on what we talked about last week.
Which was?
Which was the role.
Oh, yeah.
What role does the woman play? What role does the man play? And I was adamant about, with my 3 daughters, teaching them how to take care of their own, how to make their own money. So that way they don't necessarily have to depend on any man. Be independent. And then when it's time for you to get into a relationship, y'all can, be equal partners.
Correct.
I know a young lady that raised a daughter. She was a single mom, raised a daughter. Daughter, by all accounts, good girl. Went to college and met a guy. This guy was like 50. She was 24. And
I know a person like that, but anyway, we won't talk about that.
Anyway, he had been in and out of jail, and they two found each other somehow, some way. And she loved the socks off this dude.
Yeah.
And her mother kept telling he's a bad guy. You should see this and that. And nothing the mother could do could stop the daughter. I'm sorry.
Did she have a father in her life?
No.
That's why. Go ahead.
Okay.
That's that daddy figure. But go ahead.
Really?
And she's missing. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so he says nothing she could. She's called me. She's like, Colton, I can't. The fact that she's in love with this guy, I know he's wrong. The mom did background checks on the boyfriend. See, that's why they found out that he had been in jail several times, things of that nature. And so the mother's like, well, I'm just gonna cut you off and force you to stop messing with him. Didn't work. You know what I'm saying? Okay, mom gonna cut me off, I'm gonna be with him. You know what I'm saying? And so I know the girl how she was raised, and to see that how it is now on that. So I was disagreeing with you a little bit, because no matter how much with kids, you can train them so many different ways, but they can stray. It's like I'm gonna
respond to that, but before we do, let's just make sure we put it out there to everyone who's listening, that abuse is never okay. If you or someone you love is in an abusive relationship, there is help out there available to you. So call the domestic violence hotline anytime at 1-800-799-SAFE. All right? So let's just put that over. It's the domestic hotline for violence. Domestic violence hotline is 1-800-799-SAFE.
That's cool. Before you go back on that, no, go ahead.
Right. You made me lose my train of thought.
I didn't want to go on it further.
So in other words, you didn't want to hear what I had to say.
Anyway, thanks for Miss G. Page. She said, you think tomorrow is going to be different? Next month, you feel like I've been through this for so long. Where's my prize for dealing with it all? Nice point. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so, it's I'm not trying to make light of the situation. I promise you. What's up, Roman?
I remember now. So hush before you make me forget again.
Boy,
one of the questions.
Y'all can see me and Roman were not good friends. I don't want nobody to think we were good friends.
Can we figure out a way to cut this man mic, please? The producer almost did it. So I've always been curious, right? Even back when we were in school, in high school specifically, and even as we graduated from high school, we got into college and in our early adult years, why is it so many women love to date this bad boy image. It portrays, it leads to some of this nonsense.
Well, to be fair, is it a bad girl image as well, or is it only a bad boy? I mean, that's like putting it on the male.
A bad girl image?
Or is there an image where a female is, she plays the, the party girl at the club. She's a popular person. She had, always out, things of that nature. Is that like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, for full disclosure, a lot of my friends, when we used to have the conversation of meeting women at the club, considering the circumstances, most of the time you were pissed drunk, and you're meeting someone in that circumstance, and they're like dressed very
Provocative.
okay, and so it was hard to take those type of situation women seriously.
Yeah, I've heard that from men that I know.
Yeah.
They said they have a name for women that just stay in the bars. They call them bar hoes.
Bar hoe.
Yep. And I heard this from men. And they just strictly stay at the bar for one thing. One
Right.
thing only.
Right. Well, I know women that go out on dates.
And I'm not saying all women. I'm just saying this is what men told me.
Right.
That's the representation of women that stay in bars, and hang out in bars, and just
Right.
be around bars. It'd be the same group of women every single day, every
Right.
single week. So they call them bar hoes.
But it must be working if they still doing it.
Well, it all depends on what you're looking for, right? So
like
if
a
a woman is going into the, if not, I'm not going to only focus on women, but if both genders are constantly going to the bar, specifically to meet a person from the other opposite sex,
Right.
would y'all agree that 8 out of 10 times it's really more for a physical
Yeah,
thing
it
than
is.
it is for
It
a
is.
long time commitment?
It is. It is. That's on both sides.
You agree with that, C?
I agree.
I've seen stuff in action, so
Okay.
definitely.
So, but going back to my question, listen, I'm gonna put Miss Jones on the spot again because again, you're the only woman on this panel here. Again,
Bring it.
were you one of those who loved the bad boy image? You wanted to date someone who had that bad boy persona?
I've dated. Bad boy persona.
He hustled. He got his money.
Yeah, but the guys that I dealt with, well, I guess I don't know if you can call them bad boys. They were like highly educated. They did like white collar crimes. They were more like, how can I say? They were more like Ghost on Power. So I didn't have the
Ghost a killer.
No. It's a different.
Right, he's
No.
definitely
That's
a
what I'm
bad
saying. It's a difference. If you meet, I wasn't with the hardcore thug. Like I wasn't
Right.
with that type.
So were you? Speaking of Ghost, so were you Angela before she knew what Ghost was? Ghost?
Good question, bro.
Kinda,
You got very few good questions. That was a good one.
I was Angela. I'm not even gonna lie.
Before she knew he was Ghost.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
And
Okay.
then when I knew he was Ghost, I was with him. I was his Bonnie.
But that time he was doing your brains out. So,
basically, yeah, I'm not gonna
so
lie.
you were in deep.
I was in deep.
I think that the bad boy lifestyle is I mean, it's romanticized in the movies we watch. You know what I'm saying? The TV shows we watch.
Right,
So of course, people watching TV gonna want that. That's they're not going for the nerdy guy. You know what I'm saying? Someone that.
But that's not true.
I think they marry him later on in life. I do need to. I've seen young ladies who went for the bad boy thing, but they would marry. You see them years later, and they married the chemist. You know what I'm saying? The.
But I got you. But I see kind of both, because if you look at Ghost, he was highly educated. He was highly intelligent.
Sure.
So I was with the guys that had the degree, but nobody, if you look at them, you would think they just, they work in corporate or they this and that. Nah, they was.
See, but I think.
And wait a minute, and they own businesses now. They're like, so, but you look at back in the 80s, they're like, oh yeah, cocaine, everybody did what they did back in the day to make it, but then, and I'm taking this to a whole nother level, but you have some people who was in that lifestyle back in the day, and they either still back in the day, or they said, you know what, I'm making all this money doing whatever. Let me start owning properties. Let me start doing my businesses. Let me start doing that, because that lifestyle ain't gonna last too long. But guess what? I did this, and that. I'm also educated. So now I have several businesses. I have several homes. I have several this and that. So I was actually dating kind of smart guys. They weren't dumb to me. They wasn't like, okay, I'm just gonna sell this and then I'm gonna go stay in an apartment and play some video games. They had like goals. And I'm not. Don't quote me on. Okay, doing that type of lifestyle is what you should do. I'm just saying that's what you call bag boy. Then I was that's dating the ghost, because I was dating the ghost.
You were
ones
dating
the ghost.
I got you.
I know a young lady. I was dating her for a minute. This going back some years. Her brother was a big timer. Ruthless dude, ruthless. I mean, murders and the whole nine. He wasn't to be played with. Something happened. One buddy of his got killed, and he's like he done. Want to give it all up. So he decided he was gonna go back to school. Went to school, went to college, gave up the streets, went to college, graduated with honors, got into med school, was in med school. And that's when his old life caught up with him. He had a partner that he used to hang with that had gotten arrested. They was on a big trial, and his name got brought up at trial. I don't know what was the link that brought him up, but the guy was on trial. He said, "Oh, that wasn't me. That was such and such." That's when the name came up, and so they was like, such and such, where is he at now? Who's this guy? So they did their research and found out that this is the guy that they were looking for, that they couldn't have a name for. You know what I'm saying? They knew who he was, but didn't know who he was. They hadn't seen him. He'd been out to play. Do you know they came and got him from med school, locked him up, hit him with a RICO charge?
He must have did something terrible.
Yeah, and then hit him with some. He got like 20, 25 years. But at the same time, they interviewed his professors. They said this dude right here if you was somebody that's gonna find a cure to cancer, it was this guy here. It was super smart. You know what I'm saying? But his lifestyle before he went to college kind of, deaded all that. I'm like, and so his sister was always like, man, my brother ain't like that. He just like, I kind of knew the brother from the street. I ain't know him personally, but I knew the stories. You know what I'm saying? Ruthless individual. I didn't know the guy that was in med school, this and that. So it's like sometimes your name will carry from that lifestyle, or some people turned on, like you said, you guys that had business and things of that nature.
Yeah, nothing happened.
I know a lot
I
of
ain't
street
do no
dudes.
ruthless stuff, but I got you. Yeah. It just depends on, like you said, what you know.
Right.
He must have had some body count or something.
So I know I was involved in a situation. See, you might know this. Well, I'm not going to say the person's name, but you definitely know her. Where in school, we all went to school together, and she and I were we liked each other, so we talked frequently, but we never really got into anything serious. But then
Smart girl.
after school, after we graduated and everything, so she went down that line and started dating bad boys, drug dealers. So she got into a deep relationship with this well-known drug dealer.
Okay.
He became abusive, and ultimately he got killed.
Okay.
So typically when you're in that game, there's one or two, maybe a third option, but majority of the time it's either you're going to be locked up for a long time, or you're going to end up dead. In this particular case, the love of her life died, got killed violently. So we reconnected afterwards, and she was trying to start anew, and she saw me as a potential rebound person. Oh. And I was into my little executive lifestyle. Well, I was actually heading into that. I wasn't yet into becoming an executive. So she opened up her heart to me one day as we were talking and getting closer, and she shared that with me, that she's trying to stop dating bad guys, bad boys, and wanted to get with someone who was on a straight and narrow. Now, I don't know if I ever consider myself to be, the straight and narrow, but in any event.
Hold on, I got to stop you there. Full disclosure, since we're doing full disclosure.
Oh, Lord,
Roman, I've known him for some years. Like I said, he used to be my babysitter back in the day. But anyway, Roman was always, he never got caught at anything he did. So don't fall for I never did this. Roman did everything we did. We just all got caught. He never got caught.
I'm an angel, bro. Don't be putting that out there. I'm an
This
angel.
dude actually,
Exactly, right?
I was in class with him. I'm going to let him tell the story this time. He was late for class, literally late.
Stop it.
He was late for class, and the dude came in class, and at the same time, she said, Roman, where you been? We all smiling because we know he about to get attention. He said, I'm sorry, I had to go to my locker. I forgot your apple. He actually brought the lady an apple to class.
See, you telling all my tricks, bro.
Man.
I hope none of our old teachers are listening to you. But in the event.
But
Hold on. So this before, let me just finish this thought. But so it kind of pissed me off that she basically was involved in a relationship where she got used and abused, and now she wants to reach out to me for me to, and I'm using this term very lightly, but to save her from herself. I'm like, you know what?
Man, over there, you beating up the mic.
I'll tell you after the show, see who I'm I think I shared this story with you before. You probably just forgot who I'm referring to. I'm sorry, Ms. Jones.
I usually don't listen to you. It's just usually goes in one ear and out the other. So I don't know what you're talking about.
That's kind of how it went with your teachers too, right? It goes one ear out the other. That's why I used to copy off my paper.
Okay, so I want to clarify bad boy because I'm gonna defend the guys that, like I said, was in that lifestyle back in the day, changed their life over, made themselves successful, went to college, education, whatever, ain't part of that lifestyle no more, haven't done it 10, 20, 30, whatever years. Bad to me is, because I'm it's like when we talk about brothers, black men,
Right.
it's always something bad, negative.
I agree.
But white people or white men, males, have been doing white collar crimes and all these crimes for centuries.
They just as bad too.
And they don't get the same title. No, they don't.
I get
They
it.
don't get the same title at all. They get, Mr. So-and-so had robbed several banks and did this and this crime and that crime, and he has like acres of land and a plane and jet. Oh, wow, he's living the lifestyle.
Yeah.
But a black man does it. He's terrible. He's a bad guy. He's
I
this
agree.
and that.
I agree.
We need to stop that.
I agree. The playing fields
And
are
I'm
not
not saying-
fair.
Go ahead.
The playing fields are not fair, but let's be realistic, though, Ms.
I mean,
Jones.
crime is crime.
Crime
but
is crime.
I just noticed that.
But it's in
absolutely.
everything.
But hold on, let me make this point.
They
Let me
treat
make
it
this
different
point.
on one side of race than
But
they
let
do
me
the
make
other.
this point. At the
They
end
do.
of the day, Ms. Jones, you have a daughter. How would you feel if your daughter came to me? I'm dating this guy. Of course, when she's age appropriate today, I'm dating this guy, and he's a drug dealer. How would you advise?
What, today?
When she becomes 21 or 18, and she says, "Hey, mommy, I'm like this guy.
Or she brings him home.
She brings him home,
Right.
And when
And
you
you know
ask
you're a
her,
drug dealer.
what does he do for a living? And you say he's a drug. She says she's a
asked
drug
me
dealer.
that back then. I'm not talking about now. It's a whole different story.
No. I'm saying
I wouldn't-
I'm,
I mean, I wouldn't want to date
I love
nobody
this
that's a
debate,
drug
but my point is though you're defending. I get the.
I'm not defending.
No. I get the fact that white men have been getting away with the same crimes
No, they get labeled differently.
differently.
Yes,
But my
they do.
point is, I agree with you. I'm a black man, so I'm with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
But my point is specifically on this topic. If your daughter, we're going to personalize it even deeper. If
Mm-hmm.
your daughter, when she's age appropriate today, comes to you and says she's dating a drug dealer, how you respond?
At what age would she be?
She's 18.
She's 18. I mean, I would convince her otherwise not
Right.
to date anybody.
So when we're describing the bad boy image, that's what I'm talking about. Yes, I know people who were drug dealers who lived, who had to do it to survive, to bring the next meal to their family.
Right. So let me ask you this.
Sure.
What do you say about pharmaceuticals?
At
What's
the-
the difference?
What's the
What's the difference?
What's the difference? Here's
What's
the
the
difference. Here's the difference.
I'm gonna
Right?
sit
Because they're
back and watch
drug
that.
dealers too.
I agree.
Okay,
but
so
but
let's talk
but
about
nobody's shooting
But you
pharmaceutical
don't know
drug
that.
dealers.
Because
I
pharmaceuticals
know.
could be working at the CVS
I agree.
and passing medication under the counter.
It's all illegal, but I've
Exactly.
never heard.
No, illegal.
That's what I'm saying. It's all illegal. But my point is, though, I've never heard anybody getting shot up because they were pharmaceutical drug dealers. right? The people I'm familiar with, and you, if you know them, that's
But see,
cool.
this is the stereotype.
It's not a stereotype from when I
I'm
growing
glad
up.
that you're bringing this up.
Right.
Because from all the movies and everything that we see, we always see in black neighborhoods, black people are the ones that's getting shot all up for drugs. Okay? And the reason why I'm saying this is because, and I know a story, this is a true story, of a person that was a pharmaceutical
I think we have a caller.
that was actually, so you want to let them talk? Because I was like in the middle
Yeah,
of
because I definitely want to hear your story.
Right. That was actually selling drugs to customers through the pharmacy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm talking about potent stuff
Yeah,
and making money off of
absolutely.
it. And you're saying getting shot up, stuff that haven't been, money that haven't been passed and transferred. People knew where this person worked at. Like, that stuff still happens.
Of course it does.
So it's not
but that's not the norm. I don't know those examples.
That's not the norm because they don't put that out there on the news.
In my experience,
because it's in white
I
neighborhoods.
agree, but I'm not talking about the news. I'm talking about people I know.
Okay, so you talking about your person.
No,
I'm just talking about
I'm
in
talking
general.
about people I know, and they've gotten killed, who were drug dealers, who are no longer with us, who are black men. They weren't selling pharmaceutical drugs. They were selling crack cocaine.
Okay.
So I get it. I'm with you on that. All of it's illegal. I get it. But if your daughter and my daughter were to come to me, any one of my daughters were to come to me, they're dating a drug dealer, that's a bad boy. You know?
Okay.
And that's not a person I would want my child
I mean,
to
I
be
wouldn't
dating.
want my child dating that either.
Exactly. That's what I'm
But-
saying. So when so I get what you're saying. All I'm saying is, at the end of the day, whether if it's a white man or a black man, at the end of the day, I know those types of chosen professions, they're not
But-
long term.
Right, but and that's why I said when I've dated guys that I've dated, that was back in the day, 2021 now. Everybody's older, everybody's wiser, everybody done did what they did.
But there's still drug dealers out there that will
Well, no,
ultimately
yeah.
try to talk to your
Oh, yeah.
daughter when she becomes of age.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, that's all
Same
I'm
with
saying.
Carlton back on what he said too. He had a good point when he said that you can teach your daughters and sons, okay, don't do this and that. At 18, you can raise them right. Don't date a drug dealer. Don't do this and that. Yeah, you could tell them, but if their mind is made up that this is who they want to date, what you gonna do about it?
Well, and that goes back to when do we,
What you gonna do about it?
But I agree. But my point to you is, though, it goes back to the question: why do so many women want to date bad boys?
I think the answer what you're looking for is so many doing it. Is TV shows you that. They show you that. And to Miss Jones,
lifestyle.
right? And to Miss Jones' point, at the same time, yeah, we know it happens in the white communities as well. Are they going to show it? Of course, they're not going to show it. But they're not going to give you. I mean, I'm shocked that we want them to show that. They're not going to do it. Why would they? Why would they show you that side? They're not going to do that. So you have to be smart. Not saying you personally, but
no.
we got to be smart enough to know that happens. Yeah, you got to. And we can't cry, or I won't say cry, but we can't say that, it's unfair to this and that. We have so much things stacked against us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they're gonna glorify it. And take drugs out of it. It's in sports. If a white player does something great on the field, he's a smart, intelligent guy. His father was a Harvard scholar and this and that. Where if it was a black guy, it's amazing that he can do the things he did. 'Cause, his father had killed his mother back when he was 12, and you get the negative side of that. The fact that he came out of that and overcame that, he should be declared. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this guy right here, he's a PhD from such and such. You know what I'm saying? And he plays basketball. I mean, you get that, and that's society in that.
I don't disagree with that, but I'm not willing to accept that as an excuse.
That's not an excuse.
No, at the end of the day, it is our community. I don't care what's happening in the white community at this particular point when it comes to this particular subject, right? It's our community. A lot of times, I remember several drug dealers I knew. One in particular, very, very, very close to me, where he was dating a woman. He loved the woman so much. I believe if that woman had put a stand draw the line and say, hey, look, I'm not willing to accept these gifts. I'm not willing to accept these trips, these cars. I want you to stop because I want you here forever. He's dead now. And I believe that she could have controlled and got him to get out the game to prevent his ultimate demise.
Well, I would love to keep doing it this week. Run into someone else's hour here, so I want to thank everyone out here for watching with us. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give everybody a chance to shout them out before they leave.
I thought you said we had a caller.
We did, but they hung up. It's okay. Miss
See you
Collins, we
next
wasn't
week.
we wasn't trying to ignore you.
Yeah.
We will talk about it. Sometimes we
Hit
get these
us up
subjects
on Facebook. Hit us up on Facebook.
right. And we definitely want to hear your question. We'll probably raise it next week or call next week at the same time.
Unleash Facebook.
Unleashed on Facebook. We'll send you invitations or whatever, how you find your podcast and things of that nature, you know. I just want to say a shout out to a couple of people that's been on the thing. So Miss G Page, thank you on that. She got a lot of stuff to say. McDina Collins, Isaac Wilson, I see you, sir. Mr. Isaac
I'm
called in
surprised
last
you
week.
ain't called this time, bro.
He did last time. You know what I'm saying? You know.
Well, one more time, let me give out this number.
Go ahead.
Again, abuse is never okay, ladies and gentlemen. If you or someone you love is in an abusive relationship, there is help available. Call the domestic violence hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. Remember that. Please take appropriate action.
Cool. Well, anyway, we got to go, y'all. So take it easy, y'all. Facebook, Instagram, be safe out there.
Yes.
You know, see you next week. That's Thursday, 6:30. Unleash. Facebook Live, Instagram Live, Roku, Amazon TV. Anywhere you see your podcast, we will be there.
Peace and love.
And love.
And try to forget about Roman, y'all. Y'all be easy. Peace.
Love it.